Today is Saturday, October 29th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 43, Week 6.
We have merged.
We have.
Yep. We took care of the recap on Wednesday. It is now the following Saturday. Time for listener feedback. Going to check in with the other superfans, see what they thought about it. Was there enough excitement? Are you re-energized possibly for what's coming next? And what did you think about this sequence of events? And what does it bode for the future of the remaining castaways in the game? How many superfans we got this week?
16.
16 folks checked in. We appreciate that. We know it takes time and effort to coalesce your thoughts and then produce predictions that can help us all do fantastic in JSFL, which is really why Joanne's here. She's just here for the predictions.
Okay.
I'm interested in your deeper insights about human behavior in the game, but we want to make sure Joanne gets a good pick.
You might want to have a few more insights about Joanne.
All right. Anything we need to cover before we get started?
You're funny.
Yes.
No, I think we're good.
Let's check in with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Man, what a doozy-woozy episode. Even though it's technically not the merge, as it was back in the early days of Survivor with 39 days and all that, and the good old shuffles. But nevertheless, guys, this was jam-packed, so I'm going to let out a great, big bam, bam, bam. Oh, man. I kind of felt sorry for Ellie, but I had a feeling she was going to get blindsided. But, man, guys, so much happened. This is where this type of an episode needed 90 minutes. I'm sure, Stacy, you made note of it there, and many fans did. We need 90 minutes for these merge episodes. This and that, especially with this new format, as Probst calls it. But, man, guys, let me get into it real quick. Gabler. What is that guy smoking? Hygiene? Oh, my goodness. Oh, Vadi. Oh, that guy. I wouldn't trust him if my life depended on it, man. And Ellie, I know, saw right through it. You know, it's a shame that maybe there wasn't enough time. She could have pulled maybe the trigger and gotten rid of Gabler, maybe, going into Tribal, but it was clearly too late there. But the thing I'm more shocked with, besides Gabler opening up his goofy mouth there, about throwing Ellie into the bus, looking in his bag, I'm more shocked, guys, about Janine not giving Ellie the idol. I gotta look, guys, I know you guys don't do interviews anymore. I gotta see Dalton Ross or Holmes, because why Janine didn't give Ellie the idol? There was something we didn't see there. You know, I'm a little disappointed with that, because that would have been an awesome blindside. Or clearly the vote was already set, because as I saw after, Sammy, not just Gabler, ended up voting for Ellie as well, along with most of the Coco and the Vessi members. But now, guys, what's interesting is Noelle didn't vote with the majority there, right? She voted for Owen, I forget, or was it Carla? I think Carla voted for Owen, which I don't know why. No, I forget who Noelle voted for. I have to check it. But man, though, I'm worried for her, though, next episode. I really like her. Me and all these women getting voted out. So much for a women's alliance there. But I will say this, guys. I think Stacy will agree with this. I think Gable is going to be considered a GOAT now if people are still willing to use him as a vote if they trust him. There's no way he's winning right now. Now Ryan's laying low key, this and that. Cassidy, James, I think they got a little bit lucky here, especially James. You know, I would watch out for James because he's got Carla, and Carla got the Idol there, which I don't think many know about, and Cody got the Idol as well, which no one really knows, I think, except Jess. So we'll see, guys. This is going to be very interesting now with the merge now being official. But man, Gabler, you disgust me here. And Janine, why on earth didn't you give Ellie the Idol? I got to see that, guys. Got to read these interviews, or again, see if there were any extra clips that are worth watching. All right, guys, take care. But a great episode. Just wish we had 90 minutes. Woo!
Whoa. Yeah, I'm all in for 90 minutes on that, too. I could have taken another 30 for sure. But it was good. I enjoyed the action and the insight and how it all got framed up for us. So, you ready for this? Ellie waved Janine off. She said, no need to. Ellie bought into the whole line that Sammy, and I forget who else it was saying, sometimes the big move is no move. And that's how you demonstrate to your alliance that you're with them. And Ellie said that she totally waved Janine off and told her not to play it. In addition to that,
I told you I thought he was sending a message.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And for some reason, Ellie received it. She seemed to be somewhat...
Well, and believed it.
Yes, yeah.
Because she totally thought she had Sammy.
And she didn't have him figured out at all the whole time.
Not even close.
Yeah, and she thought she had that so dialed in. Well, and she owned it, too. She said that she just really messed up. From the drop, she got out there and said, I'm just going to chill. And then she started playing too hard. And she said she did it over and over and over.
So she couldn't stop herself, even though she was aware of it.
Yes. And she did it for sure on merge day. She even had a discussion with Cody about his idol. And she, in hindsight, was saying, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done that because maybe he was worried about why I was talking about his idol. Because she had sussed that out from the the hat discussion.
Because probably she wanted him to know she knew, but then it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have let him know I know.
Yeah, and this is when they were sorting out, because Ellie said that Cody came up with the idea to split on Cassidy and James, to split the vote that way. So that was actually Cody's idea. And she was like, oh, I'm fine with that. Yeah, sounds good. And then she went around, telling people. And so, yeah, she did own her mistakes, and she's kicking herself. She also did hear them cheer when they got their buffs at the end. She said it was like a dagger through her heart, her survivor heart, because she could hear all that when Jeff threw him the buffs after she was gone.
Just barely walked out.
Yeah.
You even mentioned that.
Well, yeah, that's why
she can hear that.
Yeah, that's not cool. Should have waited a few beats. But I guess the game goes on, so it goes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so I think that was probably the really big insight, was that she waved Janine off and said, don't do it.
So does that mean Noelle, who voted for Cassidy, was out of the loop? She was in Ellie's loop?
Or or Cody.
Or Cody.
She was going off what Cody had told her.
Okay.
Because that was initially a plan, but they didn't bring her back in.
Out of the real loop.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the, we're limited on information, and one of the information pieces that's going to help us try to make some decisions is who voted with who at this point. Because,
well, we know Carla voted Owen.
Yes.
Not sure exactly why, but she and...
yeah, not clear. Other than maybe she didn't want to vote for Ellie. Although, the other side of that potentially is Carla's very sharp, and she's paying attention. And she might have picked up on how tight Owen was with Ellie. Because it looked like he made a strategic error here. And his buddy Sammy did not help him. Did him no favors.
He and
Ellie voted together.
Ellie voted for James, like Cody said.
Yes. And like Pete was just saying, there's some momentum against James.
Which means, really, Sammy's working Gabler hard, but they didn't bring Owen into their loop. They didn't trust him not to tell Ellie, and I believe he would have told her.
Possibly.
So Sammy knew enough not to tell Owen that he and Gabler were both
and he realized
Ellie.
They didn't need him, so...
No, they don't need him if they feel like they've got other...
For whatever reason, Sammy decided not to position Owen as an alliance partner going forward if he left him out of the information loop.
Well, this is very unusual for me, but I have decided to let Owen go, even though he's 24.
Wow.
Which I usually don't do. I usually right to the end, and I haven't done it yet, hadn't pulled that trigger, but...
well, let's check in.
But I intend to.
Let's check in with the other superfans and see what they're thinking in that regard.
All righty. Sounds good.
Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I thought this was a pretty good merge episode. I was glad to see that there was definitely no sign of the hourglass. And at the challenge, I thought it was kind of interesting how they handled Cassidy sitting and getting to choose which side she was going to pick to be on. So I thought that was a good idea. The challenge was really fun to watch. I thought it was interesting that it incorporated 2 puzzles into the challenge. Did anyone feel like Ryan was kind of being flashy at the ramp trying to help his teammates but not being all that useful?
Yes.
When he was hanging off with one arm, I felt like it would have been more useful to hang with his arms down from the top of the ramp. And when he hung upside down, it just seemed to not really work that effectively. It looked like Carla was going to have to grab onto something uncomfortable in order to pull herself up, so I'm glad that she didn't. I'm curious where fans' opinions lie in the Gablegator versus the Mean Girls conflict. I hope most are on Team Gablegator at this point. What he lacks in skill and situational awareness, he makes for in unintentional hilarity. He adds so much chaos to the game, and I'm really loving watching it, and I'm glad in the battle of him versus Ellie that he rose supreme. I'm not really a fan of Ellie at all, and I'm kind of glad she's gone. The only thing bigger than her ego is her eyeballs, and I'm glad that I don't have to look into them anymore. On the topic of going into people's bags, I think it's not only a dumb move, but it's just too risky. If you want to do it, don't do it in front of anyone else. If people see you doing it, they're going to use it against you. Information is advantage in Survivor, so don't be surprised when you get ousted. Ryan, after the merge, saying that this could be the final 7 at the merge feast was like a legendary moment. I think when he's voted off, him and Ellie can argue about who's the smartest, bestest player to not win this season. What was going on with James's voice this episode? He kind of sounded like the ghost of Stephen Hawking. I'm glad that you guys pointed out the strange pre-tribal vote torch snuffing scene. That was really bizarre. You have to wonder, how does this kind of stuff happen in production at this point? I've got to decide on a new USB this week. I think I've narrowed it down to Carla, James, and Sammy. I see Carla and James sticking together as a really tight 2. Who do you guys see as most likely for them to bring into their alliance going forward? Anyway, that's it for me. I hope that everyone has a really great Halloween. My kids this year are dressing up as Pikachu and Buzz Lightyear, so that should be interesting. And that's it for me. I hope you guys take care.
Thanks, Robert. So who do you think Carla and James are most likely to align with, per Robert's
Whoever
question?
benefits them most in the moment.
Okay.
And they'll flip on a dime. So I would say I think probably Dwight, Cody, and Jesse, bring in the Vesey people. Mm-hmm. Carla seems to be trying to get close to the women as well. So I don't know who she'll actually bring in, but I think that they're just going to be playing everyone, and whoever does what they want, that's who they're going to have in their alliance.
It's essentially been their MO so far.
Yeah.
They'll pivot
for that vote.
Easiest path for that vote.
I'm not sure they have tight alliances other than with each other. Mm-hmm. And if that didn't benefit them, they would cut the other one too, I'm sure. But,
well, she may have to with James.
I think they're going to be very flexible with moving forward and maybe just try to have an alliance with everyone and then work it. At some point, people will figure that out probably, but maybe not. And especially since they have a lot more places to hide with this many people than they did before. Before you couldn't really hide.
That's the big pivot, is that now the under the radars can really work their game.
So I do they have so much more to work with. Tight alliance. Again, I go back to, though I could see them cut Dwight this week too for being so stupid as to tell everybody about the dang
advantage under
we think it's Carla and who else was?
Janine and Owen.
Yeah, Janine
and Owen looked pretty clear because no other guys got long hair like Owen. And there was definitely Janine was there, and then there was a guy with long dark hair.
But that's such an unlikely group for him to be telling, isn't it? So who
I don't
is
know that we know Dwight is playing a superior game in terms of information sharing. He's been completely duped by Jesse, so I'm not willing to assign him as being one of the greater strategic players here.
Well, I do think they'll hold on to Ryan and maybe Cassidy as long as they can to have that to make them believe, oh yeah, we're still all together.
One of the other extra videos was Ryan isolating himself and working, and all the Coco folks were telling the others, yeah, he does this, he's just constantly working, we don't know where the energy comes from and all that. So
well, but we saw him keeps going out fishing, so as long as he provides.
Yeah, that could work to his advantage. We're also in the individual portion of the game where physicality can rise up and be a big threat signal. So,
but
exciting times.
They'll take some of the other heftier people out, stronger people, before somebody who's providing them with regular food, unless they have enough food that they are like, man, we don't need it.
They hadn't had the fear of the individual challenge put into them yet. This hasn't happened. When you see someone blow everyone else away, potentially, then their threat level rises so high you can't help but respond. Food or no food.
Who do you think they're going to... You didn't answer who you thought they would align with.
I think Cassidy's still there. I think she's still solidly there, and
Ryan.
The three of them, Cassidy, Carla, and James, are fine cutting Ryan loose. But for now, Ryan's still there, so that's 4, and they need 3 more.
Well, you got 3 teams of 4 basically right now.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to want to give up the 4 they came in with.
You would think.
You wouldn't think. I wouldn't want to
We were just talking about how big of a mess Baca is, though, because they left Owen hanging.
Oh yeah, and I could see them, and I can't imagine they'd let. I don't think Gabler can be a goat because he's just going to get too annoying.
No, he can absolutely be a goat.
No, he would if he drives them crazy.
And his propensity to sleep and rest and not contribute, all that feeds into that story. So
I have to say, I have to give Sammy more credit than I ever thought I would, because just the way he has managed his tribe and not let them see his true feelings, because there's some anger really going on underneath there. And you can tell he's so annoyed in the extra clips and things like that he's just ready to go off on Gabler himself, but you don't see it.
Gabler's value went up greatly. Gabler's now a meat shield.
Yeah.
He got to be out front doing this.
But how's Janine and Owen going to feel that the other 2 in their alliance voted Ellie out?
They need to be working really hard to find new alliance partners.
Or will they realize they voted? Will they even know because there's so many people? You know, that's the thing. People can hide way more easily. Go, oh no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Totally different game. Look at us. We're like 20 minutes into this. We're only through 2 feedbacks because everything that
we need to shut up.
Pete and Robert said is causing us to go off on all these tangents. Good job, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Kim from North Carolina. So I've put the remaining players into categories, and I'm not sure about all of them. So my first category is under the radar, which we know allows people to go further than they really should, but then magic can sometimes happen for them. So in that category, I put Cassidy, Gabler, Janine, maybe Jesse, maybe Owen, and maybe Dwight. I guess we'll have to see how those last three do in challenges, well, especially Owen and Dwight. Then I think people who might be in trouble because they're seen as playing the game or kind of being separate from everybody are Noelle and Ryan. But I also have Ryan in the challenge threat high risk category, along with Sammy and possibly Cody. Now, I haven't put James anywhere, but I think we have to see how they do on the individual immunities to determine who's really going to be a threat in the individual immunity challenges, and how hard they're going to be negotiating and trying to make connections. So notice I didn't put Carla in any category because I think Carla right now is in a great position. She has a secret that I don't think anybody knows about, and she probably doesn't come across as a big immunity threat, but I think she's got a really strong will, and it's going to be interesting to see if she can make connections without making anybody's spidey sense go off. That's about all I have. Hope everybody's having a good time watching Survivor. I'm enjoying the choices that they're giving in challenges and kind of how they've shaken those up a little bit. And I'm also enjoying no hourglass or funky junk like that. Take care, everybody. Bye.
I love that. No funky junk. Good job, Kim. I like those categories. I like the classification, breaking it up that way is another way to think about it.
And good to hear from you.
Next up, we got an email from Ryan. I'm looking at Ryan. We got an email from Erin in Canada. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. What an episode. I can just imagine Gabler on cloud 9, climbing into his shelter to sleep after tribal, lying awake, wrapped in his palm frond blanket, and thinking up a self-proclaimed nickname, the Alligabler. From my personal experience, nicknames are a whole lot more enjoyable when given to you by others. I am happy the merge is here. I must say, Joanne, week after week, my absolute favorite part of the recap show is listening to how you landed on your picks. There's always a big story, and Stacy is mixed in there somewhere too. It always makes me giggle. The saga of Joanne's picks. Yes. Quite the adventure. A series of short stories, lol. Please keep them coming. There you go. I thought it was interesting how the teams were split by each duo in the challenge. Cody and Jesse, Gabler and Sammy, Ellie and Janine, and Carla and James. Do you think that was just a coincidence? I would imagine, yeah. They drew for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was totally, it's weird because it was pretty balanced, but yeah, I think it was random.
Yeah. My front runners are Carla, James, and hopefully Sammy. I really like the game he's playing, but I think the Agent of Chaos strategy may implode on him eventually. There are so many people left in the game that I think it's almost impossible to guess who will be going home. Do you think people will stick to their original alliances, or will it be everyone for themselves, an individual game? Have a great week. Thanks, Erin. I don't think they're going to want to be individual like that. They want the cover. I think everybody's got to be skittish with a big group like this, and so you want to gather your numbers.
Yeah,
and you don't want your name coming up.
Try to do that, but I just don't know if Baca can do that.
Yes,
they're already so fractured from the last vote. But if they're smart, they'll try to pull back together until they can at least find someplace they feel safe letting go of the original people and moving into something solid. But it's pretty nervy to leave one tribe and join with 4 others in a tribe, or
where you believe that you're automatically on the bottom. It's like, congrats, you got final 5, and you will be voted out 5th.
2 people from each tribe to have an alliance of 6. Okay, that would be more acceptable.
More balanced. You could rationalize.
But I don't know that will happen right away. I think it's just going to have to play out.
Yeah, the thing about Gabler is you're never going to be able to count on him, because he'll be so intent on marching to his own drummer and telling the story of how he does that at the same time that you can reel Owen back in, no problem. I think it'll be in his best interest, but then you'll never be able to count on the alligabler.
I was laughing at what Erin said about my pig stories. Mm-hmm. I thought I probably shouldn't tell those so that people see how weirdly my brain works. And even if I happen to get something right, it rarely ever happens.
There's been multiple times.
The way I thought it would.
Yeah, where we come up with a scenario, get the points, and it had nothing to do with what we thought.
It's like, okay, but I'll take it.
It's fun. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Erin.
Next up, we got a call from Nora.
Hi, Stacey and Joanne. It's Nora in Canada. I am so excited about this episode. I don't think I've ever enjoyed one as much as this episode. When the blue team won the challenge, I had tears. That's never happened. I mean, I would be very embarrassed of myself if anybody knew that or saw that. But I was just so happy. There's people I love in there that I know y'all don't. Like everybody who phones in does it, and you guys don't, which is like, I know what Ryan did in the last thing, but he's so generous in a physical challenge, reaching back, hanging upside down, helping people. I just love him, and y'all hate Gabler, but I love Gabler, and I was so happy when he turned in Ellie. You know I don't like Ellie. Anyway, it's just based on the business of bossiness. You know, if someone's bossy and controlling, they're going to leave the game. They're going to be voted out. I was, of course, happy when Ellie went. I want to congratulate Rashmi in Australia for killing everybody in the JFSL. She's quite amazing. She's the person you want to be with in sort of an apocalypse or something. Like, follow Rashmi, because she could really judge people super well. That roast beef in your crock pot, we're going to all come down. All of us are going to come down. And then we're going to play this episode over together so I can hear how you guys watch it, because I missed so much that you got. How dumb would Janine be to play the idol for someone who's already on their way out? Her captor, her bestie. Well, I mean, like I say, I know I've been a girl all my life, and I know that thing where a bossy girl gets you and announces you're her best friend, and you kind of have to do everything her way. But I selected Janine before the as my USB before the action started for her intelligence. And right, remember first episode, she got the bone thing right. And did you see her in the blue victory? Did you see her moving? Like, she is so smart. So of course she wouldn't be dumb enough to play her idol, even though she had to say that to Ellie. But once her captor left, I am so interested to see what she does now. I don't understand Owen plays both sides, the boys' team and Ellie's team, because his vote was not in the majority, and neither was Noelle. The people who were not in on the vote would be the ones up to leave. So I'm kind of thinking Noelle will go next. Also, like everybody says, he can't win if Noelle gets to the final 2 or 3 against her. So I think she might be going. Like, what a hero was Carla, with her hand totally smashed up and bleeding, and keeping going and going. And wow. Anyway, I love Jace and Carla. I just question their votes, because their vote, one of them was in on this. Not, like, there were 3 votes that weren't in the majority, and Carla's one of them, which kind of worried me a little bit for her. But it was the best episode. I was thrilled. Gabler threw Ellie under the bus, and things are going great, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for all you do.
All right. Thanks, Nora.
I kind of felt like somebody was in on those stranger votes, though, that, like, people were told, well, we need to throw a few votes, somewhere else just in case something happened, and somebody had to do it, and they might have been in the group and would have voted Ellie, But they said, okay, well, you vote this one and you vote that one, and the rest of us will vote this, just so we're covered. If Janine did play the idol for her, that, one of us wouldn't go home.
Possibly.
So,
I guess.
Anyway, that's kind of what I thought. I don't see Carla voting for Owen for any other reason, unless she was just trying to send a message, but I think she knew where the vote was going.
Well, we've seen this season that there's certainly, and throughout the history of Survivor, there's power in putting someone's name out there for a vote, because momentum, that can snowball. It could effectively be planting a seed, you're next. This is what's happening here, obviously, and I don't have to be a direct part of that, but we're signaling you're next, and Owen's name's been out there, and it could come up again. Thanks, Nora. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling. Really good episode. I guess the first thing, just as far as Ellie, the whole searching through the bag thing, I think is an interesting talker. I know she didn't technically go through Gabler's bag, but I think she was definitely there when it was happening. And I personally think that's the wrong way to play the game, doing that kind of thing. I think karma kind of bit her there, and just overall, just how she handled Gabler. I think that's one of the biggest things in Survivor, is how you deal with people that annoy you and how you kind of handle those relationships, and that was kind of what ended her game. So I think that's kind of an interesting kind of talker as far as whether to look through people's bags and how you play the game that way. The other thing was just how they handled the merge. Obviously, I'm just really happy that they moved away from the turning back time thing. I think that was, that was just a bad move, and I like how they do it now. I think you earn your way into the merge. I do think both groups should get a feast. I think that's just the way how hard it is to play, and and just being able to recharge your batteries, I think is definitely important. And just to give it to half the group, I don't think is fair, but the way they're doing it. And I think the last thing is, as far as the USB, my USB is still around. I've got Noelle. I'm not super confident in that pick. I do like Stacy's call on Carla. I think she's definitely someone to look for. Also, her alliance mate James is somebody that you got to keep an eye on, because I think they're both playing really well. Not sure about Jesse. I thought he was going to be really good coming in, and then I didn't, and now I'm kind of back to I think he's got a chance. So it's definitely open. I probably am going to stick with Noelle just because of how many points are on the line, but it's definitely feels like it's a wide open race at this point. So that's all I have for now. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Chris. I think it's called the sunk cost fallacy. It's hard to let go of that investment that could potentially pay off big time, especially after you've held it for a little while. And I'm interested to see how James responds, because he's been all about, when someone else's name was coming up, telling them to chill. Well, his name just came up twice. So let's see if he's a man of his word and he's going to be able to chill, or if it might rattle his cage a little bit after these votes. Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hope you and all the Survivor fans had a good week. Well, Stacey, hang on, as you said, and boy, you were right. It took 5 weeks, but I think we just got probably one of the best merge or pre-merge episodes we've seen in a long time. I think maybe 5 years, 10 seasons worth. I think it was just a pure chaos in the end that gave us, especially me, such elation. The confusion in like the blocks, who to vote for, who not to vote for. The way they built it up too, it was like really short, really sharp, really sweet, and that decision to remove the hourglass was just a masterstroke. It was obvious. Don't give them too much credit. It was something they had to get rid of, because God, that was a horrible decision to bring in 41 and 42, but excellent overall. Very, very good episode. I think the decision from Gabler, I don't know if it was just his anger or if it was it a decision that he actually decided to make tactically. Whatever it was, he did it well. And as you said, Stacey, that deflection, right back at you after, what Ellie said after Tribal had ended. He had to say that, and it was a good response. And I think it was a good decision. It was a good time to get rid of Ellie. I think Ellie was making moves that were just way too... It felt too obvious from what they had shown us that she was just making him out in the open, and she put a target on her back really early, and you can't do that. You cannot do that. But conversely, I think now possibly Gabler's put a target on his back, so I'm going for him this week. I didn't put in votes last week. I completely forgot. Just got so busy with the move. Yeah, I think I hung on, and I think we got something good in the end. So thanks again for keeping me reeled in, Stacey. But something that you said last week resonated with me was that tribal stage where we have the 2 or 3 tribes. I mean, it's been 3 for a while now, and I think you're right. I think there's not enough there to be able to give us enough, I think, resolution or information to go into a merge. I think this time it's been the actual quality of the season that's given us such a great merge. But I think we do need to go back to possibly down to, say, 2, or even increase the amount of plays in the game back to 20 again and bring it back down to 2 tribes 10. But for whatever reason, I think we've got a decent set of players. I think Carla is really showing her stuff. I'm really liking Sammy. He's really playing under the radar. Those are the 2 that I'm going to look out for. I thought maybe Owen coming into this season would be okay, but he's really just shot down. And I think with the wild card is there, Gabler, and not winning anything, but just causing pure chaos as we saw. So, yeah, excellent episode. Really happy after hanging on, and yeah, let's see what happens next week. Thanks for all that you do.
All right. Thanks, Shahin. I'm glad you felt like it really paid off, because it did seem like an exciting merge episode. Next up, we got an email from Rashmi in Perth, Australia.
Dear Joanne and Stacey and all my Survivor friends, so I lost my USB and I'm on top of the fantasy league. Amazing. This season I chose my USB as the first person from Paul's roster. Like Stacey, I have thought of Carla as my 5-point USB. I may not go with this choice, as so far nearly all the girls are getting voted out.
Good point.
I got the impression from Ellie's exit interviews that the end game is going to be male heavy. On second thought, I would love to see Noelle win. I think I will really have lots of fun cheering her on. I have been so impressed with her physical game so far. Now that Ellie is gone, the next to go most probably will be Gabler, as his idol is null and void now. Or he could be an excellent goat to drag to the end. Janine's end is also not far off. I really thought she would play the idol for Ellie. By the way, Ellie's eyes always freaked me out. So far, I'm really enjoying the show. I'm looking forward to the new season of White Lotus. I read somewhere that Mike White has included some of the cast from season 37 on the show. I will be going with Gabler as my next vote off, unless I read some other points of view on the JSFL Facebook page. Thank you, everyone, for your kind comments on Facebook. Have a wonderful week and enjoy the next episode. Cheers. All right. Thanks, Rashmi. Up next, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacey. It's David in Pittsburgh. Wow, what an episode. And let's go right to the Tribal Council. As Jeff said, wow, a lot of people. I thought Ellie was playing a really good game, but here's a case of her orchestrating her own demise.
Yep.
Sort of like Lindsay, but in a different way. She just was playing too hard. Her strategy was good, work with the other tribe, Vesey, and then be 9 strong. But she just was throwing too many names out there, James and Cassidy, and then Cody as the fake name. But did she tell Cody that he was the fake name? So she just gave too many people reasons to want her out. Even Sammy and Owen, I thought she was really good in going and talking to them, but they were just, okay, we've got problems with her. Let's just get rid of her. By the way, I did like the way she would go directly to the source. She went to Gabler, she went to Sammy, she went to Owen. She was very open and honest about what she was telling them. All 3 of them lied to her. None of them owned up to what they did in this mess. I think the thing is, when you come to this merge situation, the best thing to do is just stay in the background, like Carla, who was also watching what was going on, but she was not throwing names out there, and that was Ellie's biggest mistake. She should have let Owen was the one that actually brought James's name up first, so she should have just stayed in the background at that point and let it go on from there. And Gabler, you know, again, he shot himself in the foot. He's not going to win this game, and so many times he had the chance to take more control over the game, and he doesn't do it. He gave away his slot in this game. Nobody's going to trust him now. He may even go at the next tribal council. I know people were saying Janine was smart in not playing the idol for Ellie, but just think, if she had played it for Ellie, and then Gabler saw what was going to happen, and he played it for James, that would have left Owen and Cassidy at risk, and I think they would have voted Cassidy out. It would have been interesting to see if that had taken place. So where does that leave the tribes? 4, 4, and 4. Thanks, Sammy and Gabler. What's going to happen next? Well, we'll find out at the next tribal council, but talk about a lot of chaos and a lot of fun. Good episode. And now I've got my new USB. Hello, Carla. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
All right. Thanks, David. So who do you think they would have gone with if that had happened, what David said, where Janine plays for Ellie, so Ellie's safe, and then Gabler plays for James, so he's safe. So between Cassidy and Owen, I say they'd go with Owen. Because they're gonna put the hurt on Baca. So if they don't get Ellie, they're gonna put it on Owen.
I think they would, just because they really wanted the numbers even. They didn't want Baca having
4, or the 5 rather.
The 5,
yeah.
And just simply for no other reason.
Yeah. Yep. Or to well, if I can't get Ellie, I'll get Owen, who's with Ellie.
That's right.
Potentially.
Still takes Baca down to
I think Cassidy
4.
makes it by. All right. Well, good deal. Thanks for making us think there, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker. What?
Hugh.
What? That was his scenario.
Okay.
I didn't come up with that.
I know. It was just funny the way you said it.
Let's check in with Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and that was insane. It was like the perfect storm that has been brewing for so long over at Baca just explodes all over the other tribes. We didn't get the hourglass twist, which was amazing, but I still hate the 7 people being safe, 6 being eligible to be voted out. And I know that one person may have then made it 7 people now eligible to be voted out. But it just feels wrong. I feel like everybody should, at the merge, everybody should be eligible to be voted out except the one who wins individual immunity. And I know it's not a real merge, all these loopholes that the show has created, right? But it just, it feels wrong, and it feels like a glorified tribe swap. So if you just want to do that, if you just want to throw a little swap in there right before the merge, throw a little swap in there. I don't mind. But if you're going to merge them, actually merge them, please. It's like, part of me hates this twist, but the other part of me is like, every time it's happened, it's been a fun result. I can't complain at any of the actual tribal councils that have resulted from this kind of fake merge twist, right? So, I don't know. Do I hate it as much as I think I do? I don't know. Maybe I'm coming around on it. But on a whim, completely on a whim, I went with Ellie as my vote off. I was debating all day.
Good job.
And I'm like, all right. I feel like her story has been leading to this moment, right? And then during that challenge, I was sweating. I was like, oh no, they're going to win. Ellie's going to be safe. And then out of nowhere, Blue comes back and wins, which was incredible. I was worried at the start of the episode this was just going to be all about advantages, like with Owen's confessional at the start, and that was a fun editing sequence. I enjoyed it, but I was just like, it's going to be about advantages. But no, it was all relationship based, which, incredible. Yes, thank you, I love it. And then at Tribal, Jeff's forcing the advantage conversation in there. He's like, hey guys. And he talked about advantages. And I'm like, Jeff, bro, read the room. That's not what this trial is about. And I can't believe that nobody played anything. Insane. Gabler didn't even play his idol that was expiring that Tribal. Hilarious. That's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
Thanks, Parker.
All right.
I wonder if it could have helped Gabler just a little bit if he had played it for someone. I mean, he didn't really have anything to lose, did he? And he could have bought some goodwill that way.
Or he could have bought some badwill that way, too. If you want to look at it that way.
How
if
so?
he played it for, people could see that. It's like, oh, he's not trustworthy. We don't know what he's going to do, you know.
Or here's somebody who's willing to play an advantage for someone else.
I don't
I'll
think
take
it
an
would go
alliance
that way.
with them in case they get another one.
It could go that way, but I would say no.
Interesting. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. Oh, my gosh, there's so much going on in that episode. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember everything I wanted to comment on. I really hope that soon we'll be done talking about the hourglass because I'm still so incredibly annoyed by Danny McRae's little baby tantrum about how it's not fair. You know what? Survivor's not fair. You know what else is not fair? The fact that a 41-year-old breast cancer survivor and a 35-year-old woman living with multiple sclerosis had to compete against an NFL player to dig a several hundred-pound boulder out of the ground. That's not fair. Also, after his little temper tantrum, they got a chance to compete for individual immunity, so Danny McRae can miss me with his little baby crying. But I did like the changes they made this season. There wasn't an individual immunity portion this time, though. Is that right? I don't remember seeing that. The challenge I thought was much better because it gave a chance for the physically weaker team to catch up, and they did, and that was really surprising. I was thinking that the blue team was going to lose, and the whole challenge, I'm thinking Noelle chose the wrong team to root for, but then later I thought, oh, maybe she chose the team that she thought she'd be less likely to get voted out of. That's really smart if that's what she was doing. Ellie sealed her fate when she chose to vote out Mariah, who I think would have voted with her through the end of the game, and I suspect that everybody who chooses to work with Gabler is going to end up regretting it. So I'm not sure if Sammy's going to be on my list of potential new USBs. I really thought he was playing a great game, but now it kind of feels like his game got blown up. I mean, who's he going to work with going forward? All he has now is Gabler, at least as far as we can tell. Maybe he made connections with the other tribes. Cody, I thought also maybe was playing a good game, but it was so hard to tell if the reason they didn't want to vote for him or even use him as a decoy was because he has an idol, or if it's because he really is playing a good game. So that's going to be hard. Do I have to choose now?
Yes.
Am I out of time? Do I have to choose a new USB this week? Because
yes.
I'm not ready. Check back with me after the last episode. Then I'll be ready to tell you who my USB is. Oh, I love that Gabler's on the show, even though Ellie should have voted him out in the first episode and definitely ended up getting herself voted out by choosing not to. I love that he's on the show. He is such a funny character, and the way that people treat him and underestimate him and how it blows up in their face, it's so hilarious, and it's such great TV, and I'm so glad that he's on this season. He's a fun character for sure. Can't wait to see what he does next. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye!
Thanks, Noelle.
Yeah, I'm going to be all over the place choosing somebody too, and I would like to just choose Carla, but I'm not sure if a woman can win this season.
That bottom row in Paul's visual roster is telling a tale, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Woman, 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 man, woman. Yeah, definitely there's a trend.
And there's only 4 women left in the game.
Yep, might as well clean things up.
Wow. So that's why I'm not sure that I want to go with a woman, because I don't know if she could get there.
Although, at a certain point, and again, this is one of those critical kind of points, this is the best place to hide. All these people, you can hide. You just got to hope that there's a focus on someone else. Yeah. I'd say for Janine's got a little bit of a high profile because of the association with Ellie and the Baca thing. But Janine, Carla, and Cassidy get to virtually disappear at this point in the game. Noelle, unfortunately, cannot disappear.
No, because you can see in the next on, she's already stirring the pot, talking about, telling people, I think Dwight found something, and, so she's going to be a pot stirrer, I think.
Yes. Well, and she wants to be in control of her own destiny. So,
and if
she doesn't have chill practice the way Carla does.
If Janine is smart, I think she will try to just kind of kick back and disappear a little bit. Just not make waves.
Everything is lined up for that to happen. We'll see.
Y'all can just forget about me now. I'm not any threat.
Right. And I want to talk about something else once we get to the wrap-up with regards to her that I think may come into play there. Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, we're merged, Baca imploded, and an overly aggressive player is out. The game is afoot. My other observations. Ryan is a polite house guest. He even brought a fruit basket for his Baca host. Sammy wanted Vesey and Coco to BYOB because at 19 he's too young to buy his own. Perfect. Janine looked forward to making the merge since she was a girl. Less so after tribal. Ellie, wild chihuahua eyes don't work well in a poker face. That's great. Oh, wild chihuahua eyes. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Owen wants a Chiron to tell people who has which advantages. I want a pony. The frequent pony. Noelle couldn't keep it under her hat that Cody had beads on his. The editors were mean using Ellie's better at Survivor quote out of context. I like the new merge twist. Risking safety for reward fits right in with prior weeks. I was pleasantly surprised that a rock draw created such evenly matched teams. That was great. It'll take a few seasons, but maybe players can start trusting Jeff again. Yeah, now that the hourglass is gone.
Yep.
Janine has red-blue color blindness. She should steer clear of politics. Yeah. Carla's hand got smashed. Medical stayed away. Do they get paid extra if they appear? Jeff learned his challenge play-by-play announcing style from watching horse races. Out in front. The way Noelle ate everything at the merge meal, I expected her napkin would be next. Ellie wasn't throwing out people's names. She was trying to learn them through usage. Ryan's best strategic move to date, asking for the new name to write down. Yes, that was the highlight of his activity, wasn't it? Ellie saying she didn't touch the bag sounded like a child lawyering up when caught. The number of people at Tribal surprised Jeff. He had only brought refreshments for 6. I trust on Survivor. If trust on Survivor, thank you, is currency, it must be Monopoly money. Jesse's no vote was enforced even though he was safe, so it's a sure bet that Gabler's idol is kaput. Janine said her gut is behind her. Is she a mutant? Gabler's unplayed idol may be bad jewelry to take home, but it beats the Creddy bracelet he was going to make for his daughter. Every time I see Purple James, I get the Prince earworm, Purple Rain. He calls himself Alligabler? What a crock. Bet you the tribe drains the swamp. How do 13 plans become 13 factorial? Sounds like Culpepper math to me. Ellie, see what not trusting Gabler gets you? Next time a major power is hidden under the shelter, does Tony Velachos have a new spy spot? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Got us laughing as usual. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine. They're back.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
We're back.
We're back.
I was on vacation. I took a really great trip to New Zealand for a couple weeks, and it was amazing. And I highly recommend it if anybody is thinking about it. Get out there to New Zealand. It's incredible.
That sounds great, but you couldn't watch Survivor.
That's right. For some reason, it's not licensed or whatever. I had to wait until I got home to catch up, which I did. And just a really great episode this time. What was your favorite part, Jade?
So my favorite part of the episode was actually when Owen was talking about how he wished that he could see the chyrons, and then the editors gave him a chyron that said no advantage. I just thought that was really funny. And my other favorite part was that I got the vote out point, which was nice.
Oh, vote out point, I know. And we could tell it would be Ellie, right? Because at the very beginning she was saying, I was made to play Survivor.
That's how you know.
Yes.
I know.
Oh,
what was
girl.
your favorite part?
Probably the thing that made me laugh the most was Gabler just blowing up everybody's game left and right. Just
did not care.
Just telling secrets and throwing people under the bus. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for Joanne and Stacey. I'm wondering, do you think that now that Gabler doesn't have immunity, is he going to get voted out? Or is Sammy going to keep him? Like, I feel like, even though I don't think Sammy should keep him because he's so unpredictable, there's a lot of game left. He could easily mess up Sammy's game, but I think Sammy will keep him because he sees him as a vote, and so he can drag him along. What do you think?
Wow. I think that in spite of Sam, I think everybody else is going to vote him out because he is such a liability. Yeah. I don't know.
It's just kind of annoying, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like.
Yeah, so who do you think is going home then?
Ugh, I have no idea. I don't know. It could be Gabler. That would be my preference, but it could be Cassidy. It could be Owen. It could be... What's his name came up last week? It could be Cody. I don't know. What do you think?
I think maybe based on just what we saw last week, probably James. His name's out there, and unfortunately, Owen, I'm a little scared for him.
I know, me too. But I did want to say, I don't think that Owen was out of the vote. I think that he was probably told to vote for James just in case, right? Because if Ellie had played an idol that Janine gave her, or if Janine played her idol for Ellie, then James would have gone home. So that's my thought. That's a backup plan, but could be wishful thinking because he's my USB.
Right. We want to think the best about Owen. We wish him luck.
Yes, but we're looking forward to watching next week. Thanks, Joanne and Stacey, for putting this podcast together, and thanks everyone for contributing.
Yes. Aloha.
All right. Thanks, Jade. Thanks, Christine.
I think Baca is just so vulnerable because the four of them can't get along. And Gabler told that she's got an idol, so if Dwight does get, like, the knowledge of power, then I'm sure Gabler will be able, you can take Janine's.
Yeah.
He's already told that she has it, so it's out there. And I don't even know if Dwight knows Cody has one. That's unclear.
Yeah, not that we know of.
And I don't know if anybody knows Carla does. I don't know. She might have told James, but... I could see her not telling anyone. It's the only way.
I was going to save it for the wrap-up, but since you mentioned it, one of the people who's there when Dwight tells that there is something under the structure is Janine.
Oh.
And Janine is by far the most well-suited person to get in there, grab that thing, and get out.
Oh, because she's tiny.
Yes. And so she could snatch that thing up. As a matter of fact, if I were her, I'd probably take off running out of the water and go up there, zip, grab that thing, and get out.
Oh, so you don't think he'd already gotten it?
No.
Well, that's really double stupid.
They show it hanging there.
Maybe he's decided it's a beware advantage and he doesn't want it.
Right.
Well, that would be a mistake.
She could turn that knowledge is power into 2 immunity idols, and she could be going nowhere because she knows Cody's got one.
Yep.
So she could be after that one, no problem.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like the way you're thinking.
All right. Thanks, Jade and Christine. Great to have you back. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah. Been a while since we heard from him, too.
All right.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here, back finally with some feedback. Yeah, I've just had a pretty bad cold for the last week and a half or better, and just haven't been feeling very well, but I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and obviously I didn't want to miss this episode, being that it was such a big episode.
Yeah.
This merge, but not quite the merge just yet. I don't know if we have a good title yet for this particular scenario, but I will say right off the bat, though, I do kind of I enjoyed the way they handled it this time. Obviously, I'm glad there was no hourglass. But yeah, I kind of like the way they handled this. So as long as we're going to continue this route of what they've been doing, I like this version. I think this works pretty well. So to be expected, of course, we got to see a lot of chaos in this episode, which we assumed was going to happen. You have a large group of people coming together like this, you know that it's just going to be just all wildness all the time. And yeah, I really do think that in the end, I think Ellie just kind of put herself in a bad position right off the bat because we've been talking about it all season, how hard she's been playing. Way too hard. It caught up with her. And then, you got a wild card like Mike involved, and things happen. And, in the end, I'm sure probably for these players, it was just an easy target to just go after her. So I like Ellie. I didn't mind if she came back, but, she's going to have to learn you cannot play as hard as she's been playing. So with that said, I still kind of feel like I don't really know for sure who is with who yet. Maybe you guys can help me out as I'm trying to figure this out, because kind of what it seemed like is you had the boys on Baca, right? You had Mike, who was leading the charge to get rid of Ellie, and then of course you had Sammy, and Owen that seems to be on his side is working with Vesey, and then Coco sort of was in, but not really all of them. So I kind of think that Coco is still kind of on the outs as well with Janine. That's kind of the way I gathered it from that. So maybe unless I'm missing something, my memory is not working too well right now neither. But that's kind of where I gather. So that means that Coco could be potentially in trouble with. And with that said, I guess if that's the case, I would assume James for sure seems to be a big target they probably will go after. And right now it's probably I'm leaning towards to be my vote out for next week. Mm-hmm. I know Owen, of course, threw in the another vote there for another player. Again, I'm assuming that all that was talked about, in case Janine, of course, played if she was the player aisle on Ellie. So there was a plan there. But James was one of those alternative votes as well, so I kind of have a feeling that they could be in trouble. But obviously Carla's got an idol, so we'll see what happens. So I know a big question is what's going to happen from here out. Should we change our USBs? I will admit I'm kind of leaning towards changing mine because I really don't think Owen's going to win. So then you have to look at who is the hot topic. So everyone, of course, agrees that Jesse and Carla look to be in the best position, although if Coco is in trouble, maybe Carla could be in trouble now. I don't know. But she's a really good player. So I do like those two. Now, I will throw out one alternative. How about Sammy? I know that sounds crazy. I know he's young and a young wild card there, but I would just throw that out there as well. All right, well, there's my predictions. You guys take care. Until next week, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Excellent. Thanks, Jeremiah.
Actually, I don't think that's crazy at all. He was kind of...
The Sammy?
Yeah, because I brought him up too. And part of me wants to vote for Cody. I'm not sure he could get there, but he seems well liked.
By vote for, you mean choose him as
choose him as my USB, yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, because you're going to have fun if he's... like the first half Cody.
Yeah.
If that Cody's going to show up here in the second half.
But Jesse was my original USB choice, and then I flipped right at the last minute to
Owen
because Jesse wasn't doing well in that 2-minute clip of the first challenge. Mm-hmm. And I thought, maybe not.
Right.
But I'm thinking of flipping back to him, but I'd also like to do Carla. But Sammy was in the 4. It was Cody, Jesse, Carla, and Sammy that I was looking at. But though, I don't know, Sammy's so young. But he is playing a good game, and he is able to hide his emotions. I just don't know if he can keep all that maneuvering up.
Right now, Sammy's got Gabler in front of him, so he's got the alligator meat shield.
I don't think that'll last too long.
No, probably not.
Nobody's going to trust Gabler.
But it's a shield for now, and,
if Gabler will tell all of those people's stories, they'll tell yours too.
You got to think that. Yeah. You wouldn't want to trust him with anything.
That will save Sammy for maybe one vote.
That's a goat.
But that's kind of the 3 I'm looking at right now is Carla, Jesse, and Cody. Mm-hmm. With Sammy kind of in the background. But I'm just not sure yet. I have a lot of thinking to do.
Yeah, don't see Owen with a lot of agency right now. I mean, that could change. Other than the editors love him. Obviously, they've had a great time with Owen this season, and that's been fun watching the little things that they
and he may get
way.
A foothold at some point, but I just don't think he's going to be able to. I don't think his social game is there enough. Oh, and Jeremiah mentioned him voting for someone else. Owen and Allie voted for James.
Yeah,
but I believe he did that because that was the original target that
James and Cassidy,
they talked about. And Sammy and Gabler agreed, and Janine was convinced and tried to convince Ellie that they were, all of Baca was on the same page. Mm-hmm. But it ended up, because Janine didn't have a vote, then it was just Owen and Ellie that ended up. I think he just stayed.
Owen got blindsided.
Vote. Yes, I think Owen was blindsided. They did not trust him not to tell Ellie or Janine.
Yeah.
And I think that was a smart move, because I do think he would have.
He's got nothing right now. He's got maybe a little bit of a connection to Sammy, a little bit to Janine.
A little bit, yeah.
But he's hanging on by threads. So I could see why people would be willing to pivot away from him for
and
sure.
And I think the only way they're even keeping together at all is just out of fear
everybody
of
coming after them. Yeah. That can unite you and help you find alternative
But
solutions.
If they did unite with the Vesey group and go after the Cocoa people, then that would be a different tune.
And
but
there's
you
momentum
don't know
on James in that case. So, more votes in his direction. Let's watch how he manages the chill. Thanks, Jeremiah. Great to have you back, bud. Next up, got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. So I think this was a solid merge episode. I liked Cody's comment at the beginning of the episode saying, everybody's trying to play nice, but I know better. And he's so cynical. I just like him a lot. I also loved Owen's sequence where he was trying to figure out who had advantages, and he said, I need that bottom corner of the screen to say who has advantages, and it says, Owen, no advantage. I just thought that was so cute. That's funny, the way they're kind of playing into his hands as he speaks. I bet you he's getting a kick out of the editors kind of having fun with him in that way. I liked how Ellie used her listening skills to pick up on the fact that Cody has an idol, the whole collection of beads things. That was great listening on her part, and I think Carla might be in a little bit of danger of her idol being revealed. I think that her idol will be revealed very soon. I think somebody's going to pick up on the whole beads thing. But boy, did Ellie draw the short straw getting Gabler on her tribe, or what? He claims that helping to vote out Ellie sealed his place and provided to the merged tribe proof that he is loyal. Is that what he said, that he's loyal? I'm not sure. But I think what he proved was that he is a snake who will sell out his allies in a minute. That was no show of loyalty. I have mixed feelings about Ellie being voted out. I was really rooting for her, but I'm kind of glad she's gone, though, because she was my USB, and I would have found it very difficult to switch away from her because I liked rooting for her, but I didn't think she was going to win. Obviously, she's not going to win now. But I now have the luxury of being able to choose someone who I can choose guilt-free, and I'm going to choose Cody because I want to have a good time rooting for someone who's fun to watch. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm out of town on a little weekend getaway, but I still wanted to send in just a few thoughts for the feedback show, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Have a great weekend, everybody, and until next week. Bye.
Outstanding. Thanks for getting the feedback
in. Thanks for the photo.
It's beautiful,
It made us want to be there, too.
Yeah. Good deal. Thanks, Jen. I can totally see why someone would want to switch to Cody.
Well, yeah, that was I think he would be fun.
Should be fun, yeah.
Okay, but the few people,
and he's not gonna immediately get voted out.
Highlighting all these little things that the editors are doing for Owen gives me pause. I hadn't really thought about that so much. Why?
Why would they favor him?
Someone that
could be he wins it all, and this is the part of the reward that they're setting up as the season goes along.
That's what started to creep into my brain as she was saying that. Was like, but why are they doing that?
It's not like he has a high threat profile.
So now that gives me a little bit of pause.
Owen too could be under the radar.
This is true.
Might better hold on. You and Jeremiah need to rethink that. I think the editor's been telling us. The hints have been there the whole time.
From the beginning of the season.
Very first episode.
His name up.
When he got his own title.
He asked
he's the
for that,
only one who got an old school Survivor intro title action shot. And he got that.
And when he asked
it's right
for
there in front of us.
Give it to him.
How did we miss that he has been the winner all this time? I think he broke the case there.
Yes, I know you're just picking at me, and so it'll make it harder for me to decide. But
next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and poor Ellie. In the end, the only thing bigger than her eyes was her inflated ego. She obviously sells it well, though, because I swallowed it hook, line, and sinker when I picked her for my USB. In the end, though, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't bring Gobbler and Ellie together again. And geez Louise, did anyone notice how much food Gobbler was trying to smuggle back into camp by hiding it in his goatee? In plain sight, I might add. And an honest question here. Was James hoarse in this episode, or do I just not know his voice due to his limited speaking role up until now? Okay, so I still say it was a bad idea for Gobbler and Sammy to vote out one of their own, even though they managed to pull in 5 people from the 2 other tribes to vote along with them. But that doesn't mean those common Ellie votes makes that group an alliance, and I sure hope that Sammy and Gabler realize that. I mean, when a tribe is willing to vote off one of their own and they have the upper hand by one player, well, what would any smart opposing tribe member do other than to go along with that plan?
Exactly.
So now with Ellie gone, Janine and Owen might band together, but what's the point since it only makes you too strong? These two definitely need to align with whatever majority alliance that appears. Jesse will almost certainly stick with Cody, which leaves Carla and Noelle as the biggest pair of losers since they voted on their own with no one backing their votes. I find that interesting and disappointing as well. Now that said, I'm very interested to see how things shake out this week because the dust has far from settled from this merge. Actually, I commend Vessi and Coco in evening up the numbers between the old tribes. Now in doing so, Cody slid deep into the back seat this episode, but I don't think that'll last long. He's too headstrong, and because of that, I can actually see him or Sammy going next. When you look at the numbers of who voted for Ellie, though, there are 6 people outside her tribe that voted for her. These 6 can continue to decimate the old Bacca, and I'm all for it, so I guess I'm leaning towards Sammy going next. I mean, who really cares about Gobbler? And that just leaves me with picking a new USB. And I've been telling myself that it would be Carla, but with her casting a lone vote, I just wonder how sure her footing is at this point. I'm really hoping that I have a better feel for things after this next episode, and I'm more than willing to listen to all and any suggestions and observations. Luckily, I've found the perfect place for that, right here. Thanks all, and thanks Joanne and Stacy for all the work that you two do. Catch you all next week. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, that's kind of the same boat I was in, Paul, is I really like her and would love to cheer for her, but I'm just not sure she can get herself there.
Who's that?
Carla.
Ah, okay.
And I wanted, for some reason, I wanted to really cheer for Cody, and I think that'll be really fun. Mm-hmm. But he's a little too far out there.
Definitely got some chaos players.
And he's been kind of the lead physical person on that tribe. And so I'm thinking now that maybe Jesse's a better bet because he doesn't stand out as much, though he seems to be well liked.
Under the radar potential for Jesse is quite high.
Yeah, so.
Yep.
So.
Can't imagine Cody hanging back and letting Ryan win everything. And I don't think Sammy's going to go for that either. Yeah. I think there's some egos that are going to come out once we hit the individual challenges. And so they're going to raise their threat profile considerably if they decide to go after each other in those challenges.
And those Sammy, Ryan, and Cody were kind of the providers in their tribe too. So they're all 3 took the same role, and that's a little bit heavier competition too. You know, are they going to be able to let go of their role if somebody else steps into it? Because obviously Ryan's not going to let up.
No, that extra video with him.
They either
building
move
the structure
or join with him.
Down on the beach is clear. He's got no problem isolating himself. We saw clips of Cody isolating himself during the last episode too. So yeah, they're going to continue to play the way they want to play. And Gabler or Gobbler, as Paul was calling him, or Mike as Jeremiah was calling him, is going to be happy to get some naps in that shelter, I'm sure.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Do you think we'll see someone effectively play? So there's an advantage It's supposedly a powerful advantage. It's under the structure.
The clues are leaning toward that it could be the knowledge of power.
It looks like it's knowledge is power. I guess that. We thought that when we heard in the Geo interviews that he had to give it back.
Yeah.
Right away. Did not get to keep it as a souvenir. And so you're thinking, well, if not this season, another one, they just want to have it since the scroll's already written up and it's got a lot of information on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it. And they seem to be dropping hints. They're using those phrases in the next on episode next on descriptions. So it seems like that's it. Do you think we'll see someone effectively play that?
Effectively play. That's the real clue, is effectively.
Right.
Actually, I think it might happen this time because the knowledge of who has it is out there. Unless they're, who's Janine going to trust to give her idol to hold it and give it back to her? Who she got to trust to do that?
Maybe
so she
Sammy.
wouldn't have it on her. Sammy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she'll trust Sammy now. I think they did before this last vote, but I don't think she'll trust Sammy now.
Oh, the alligabler then. Definitely trust the alligabler.
Yeah, right.
He's proved his loyalty.
Yeah, because he's the one that told everyone she has it. So sure, she would trust
See,
him.
that's the master stroke right there.
Yeah.
Nobody would expect him to have it.
Owen would hold it, but, he's not 100% trustworthy either.
He's just as likely to get voted out as the alternate for her.
So, unless she got close to one of the other ladies that she thought she could trust one of them enough.
So, if Dwight does get it, do you think he'll be able to use it effectively? Because he evidently had a clue that it was there. That must be what he was sharing. He found
something. Could he use it effectively? Sure. Well, it just depends on what Janine does or what Cody does or if anybody guesses Carla. If anybody saw Carla's bracelet, she would know. Or if anybody in that tribe talks about it. But I don't know that they will. Even if Cassidy figured it out, I don't know that she'd talk about it. As long as she thinks Carla's with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she'll talk about it to anybody. Ryan is clueless. And even James, I don't know that James thought a thing about giving that bead, and I don't think either one of the guys ever gave it another thought. It's just a bead.
Wouldn't remember anything about it, at this point, potentially.
Yeah. So they just totally went, yeah, sure, it's a bead. I don't care.
I really want to see Janine trying to find out who got it on Coco, asking the questions, sussing it out. That would be interesting.
But if she does that, that could get her sent home really fast. Carla gets wind of it.
On how you do it,
ask
for sure.
Carla.
Yeah. Yep.
So for sure, if she asks Carla, she's going home for sure.
Well, the track record of the knowledge is power advantage is that it blows up or you go home with it in your pocket. It just does not pay off. So I'm going to say it stays that way.
Well, it does seem to happen that way.
If Dwight ends up getting it, since he's got knowledge of where it's located, then you'd think he would be most likely to, although it might be easiest for Janine to scramble under there and grab it.
Yep.
If Dwight gets it, I say it blows up again. Still, just fizzles, turns into a nothing. But if Janine gets it, I'm excited to see how it might play out.
Now, if Carla got it.
If that's indeed her sitting there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looked like the back of her hair.
Right.
That's why I'm 99%.
Since Janine and Owen are out there, and it's a person
you can see them.
with a head of
black hair.
Yeah.
It's got to be
Must
Carla.
be her. Yeah.
And so
she could end up with it too.
If she got it, then I would say, yeah, she could definitely use it effectively. And because she has the ability to keep quiet about things.
Yeah, excited to see how that's going to play out. There's a lot of exciting potential in the second half of the season. We want to say a big thanks to everyone who took the time. Share your thoughts and predictions today. Great hearing from you. We really enjoyed it, and we appreciate everybody who makes that effort and contributes to the listener feedback show. We have a great time, and You always, obviously, you make Joanna and I think of all kinds of possibilities.
Yeah,
so.
It was kind of helping me narrow things down a bit,
good
too.
stuff.
So, and if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 7 picks for 1 person voted off and 4 people who are safe. And this week is the only time this season you can choose a new USB if yours has been voted out for a possible 5-point bonus. Also, if your USB 24 is still in the game, but you don't think they can win,
Owen,
you may choose a new USB, but only for a possible 10-point bonus. Beware. If you change your USB 24, then decide you want to go back to them, you will be allowed to do that, but only for the 10-point bonus still. So be very sure before you move away from them.
you're forfeiting 14 points when you make that decision to hit submit. And therefore, remember to hit submit. There are a few people who may think they have a USB 24, but do not, because we noticed there were some folks.
Yep, there are people who do not.
Yeah, do not have one. So you could at least clean that up a little bit at this point. Please go to the picks page and see if your USB 24's name is in bold print. If not, you don't have one. If you'd like to join us on these listener feedback shows in the future, you can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547, toll-free 844-643-8737. You can record an audio comment and attach it, or just type up a quick message and send it to us via email at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in that 3-minute range.
Well, is there anything else we need to discuss before we wrap it?
I'm good. Looking forward to next week.
All right. We'll see you back here on Wednesday with the recap.
Have a good one.
And happy Halloween.